Before we isolate the psoas muscle, I need to show you all the anterior hip muscles. This anatomy picture shows the anterior leg, right leg, from the hip all the way down to the knee. All those big long muscles cross the anterior hip joint. With not too much force, they will engage and they will override the psoas muscle. That's why it's really important to use as light, feather light resistance as possible to help find the deep iliacus and psoas major muscles. Very little force is used so those big muscles don't get pulled in. This is very important. Okay, first exercise to find the psoas muscle. The knees and feet should be no more than 6 inches apart, 4 inches, so don't let the knees flop out to the sides. Make sure that they're in good alignment. Then what I'm going to have her do is bring this knee toward the chest and go ahead and tuck your pelvis under as you bring your knee to the chest. Compensate. Okay, so if the pelvis moves, that is incorrect. Go ahead and put the pelvis back down. So both hips need to stay on the floor, and go ahead and arch your back up. This is the other compensation. Go ahead and bring your hands up in the air so they can see your back. So there shouldn't be any space underneath your back. Lower your back down. Okay, so the spine stays stable, the hips stay stable. Okay, and she's gonna let the weight of the femur here in through the socket hold the leg up. And then the other leg's gonna come up to match it. So 90-90 position is what you want, like sitting in a chair, but the chair isn't there. Good. Now, I'm gonna have her put her hands here on either side, and what she's feeling for is that those superficial muscles on the top are not working. Okay, she wants to be as quiet as possible, and if it feels like the anterior hip muscles are working too much, she can bring her knees toward her chest a little bit and or drop the feet, okay? So that'll make it a little easier to relax those anterior hip muscles. And then once she gets a feeling for that, she can try to go back to that starting original position without firing the anterior hip too much. So now she compensated a little bit by bringing the knees up, and that's okay in order to get the feel for this exercise. Eventually she should be able to do it with her legs, in that position. So go ahead and start where you were. Okay, so that way she can feel just the upper leg sitting into the hip socket. And I'm gonna have her exhale as she lowers this foot down toward the floor, keeping everything as relaxed as possible. And then as she raises the leg back up, I'm gonna have her try to keep all these superficial muscles relaxed as she lifts the knee. And in through the femur, I want her to feel a wave going down and out that way. So the ball of the femur is really sitting in the socket. And slowly back down, breathe out. Yes, slow and controlled. And then the minimal amount of muscle possible to bring the leg up. So you use gravity as much as possible and not a bunch of muscle groups. The psoas is hard to find. And then the same thing the other side, slowly down. And then she's feeling that she doesn't grab a bunch with these anterior hip muscles. She tries to keep them as relaxed as possible as she brings the leg back up. About 3 to 5 times each side with good control. Okay, next exercise to find the psoas muscle. Again, you want the feet about 4 to 6 inches apart, so kind of close and the knees in. Don't let the knees flop outward. So here. And you're going to bring this heel in front of this knee. Perfect. So you want your knees slightly out to the side, not much, and let your pelvis relax. Good. Now, this hand is going to be in your anterior hip area right there. And the other hand is going to be right here. Okay. So what you're going to do is your hand is just going to push out on the knee and you keep the knees still. But I don't want you grabbing or forcing anything. I want you using minimal resistance and keep those superficial muscles relaxed. So very light, less force. Yes, there you go. Hold for about a count of 5. So she's pushing this way with her leg toward the left shoulder. And rest. Good. So it's about a 5-second hold 3 times. Do one more time. It's very minimal. Even less. It should feel like you're not really doing anything. That's how you get the psoas. and relax. So go ahead and remove this hand for a second. I'm going to use one finger. Hold your knee there. Even less. There you go. Yes, there you go. So that's how much resistance. I'm going to use my whole hand in force. Hold. Does that feel different? Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, so not maximal force. It's itty bitty to get the psoas muscle to work. Okay, so we're going to do the same exercise on the other side. So she's going to put her left hand on her anterior hip on the left side. So yes, okay, good. And so she's feeling that the muscles underneath her left hand stay relaxed. And then very light resistance. Use 2 fingers maybe, so you know that you're not using a whole lot of force. She's pulling her knee on a diagonal this way, almost to her right shoulder. A 5-second hold, and then relax. Just 3 times.